this is literally starting with the first images that I did with version 2. And it's something to think about how excited we were that we could get images like this. And it was just so amazing. Now this one I had to combine the motorcycle and the background and Photoshop, but did that before Photoshop had the ability to automatically do a surrender. And this
And we
is
are talking summer 2022, so 2 years
yeah,
ago.
yeah, yeah, yeah. July, August, in that time period. Um, and then when version 3 came out, I'm doing, being that I do a lot of medical stuff, I've always been trying to see what you can come up with in terms of medical type stuff. Um, and this was version 3, doing stuff. One of the most interesting things, though, well, there's an early architecture thing that was version 3.
This looks very cool,
Yeah.
Miguel.
Yeah, Miguel, if you stop on this for a second, go back to images. For a while, I could recognize this style, which I believe it's the first, the version 3. You have this miscellaneous, actually, mycelius is like the mushroom spores kind of feeling, and you can easily recognize this. And some pictures with this style, actually, they won some international competitions, and a lot of questions came from that. But you can easily recognize this style.
Yeah.
Basically, you see all those threads. I always think it's like threads all over, and you can
This
see
was
that.
uh,
Yeah,
this was a tunnel thing I did, and I was experimenting with tunnels. Why? Because I was trying to do a view through a blood vessel of like a blood clot, in a artery. It just did not really want to show me from inside the thing until I put in the word tunnel into
yeah.
the thing. That's coming up, but this is interesting. Um,
But
I asked Midjourney, where would you like to travel? And I got these pictures. Uh, can you do a drawing, a line drawing for me? And this was another one of that. And what's your favorite art style? And it gave me these images. And then what kind of animal would you like to be? And that was the character that came out of it.
that's cute.
Now there's the blood. This is the tunnel with the blood clots, and by the way, again, can't use the word blood, so we used red corpuscles, and
Oh
got
no, 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 no! We have many. We have
yeah,
sangria. We have sanje. We have.
yeah, right. So
I
all
don't
those kind of
know
things,
in
but
Portuguese, Margarita, but probably you did that too. That is- and how many times you got banned? That's also another thing. It's like
yeah.
writing
Too
something.
many to recall.
Yeah, they said no, you cannot use this. You cannot use Midjourney for 10 minutes. Like, oh damn!
This was an early thing with version 3 also, where I did the background, but I couldn't get a woman flying on a dragon in the picture to look decent. So that is actually a 3D image that I created with the woman and the dragon. Somebody asked me when I first showed this picture, how did you get the wings transparent? I can see the background through the wings. And I had to explain that I put a mask on that part of the wings and just mask it lightly, like 20% off of it, so that you could see through it.
Miguel, the blur come up with version 3 because I remember I was trying to do bokeh and ton of cameras stuff, or at least the visual effects, and I got it in version 4, but not too much on version 3.
Yeah. This again is version 3, and you know, the almost painterly quality to some of this stuff. This was an interesting thing. This was to create a gigantic space where people of various religions could come and worship together. And this was one of the highest, liked, images at that time. It was, well over, I don't know, I forget it, but it was very high. And these were some of those images. Times Square at New Year's Eve, and look at the faces. New Orleans.
Stay on that for a second, really quick, Al. Go back to that one. I think we're going to have a nostalgia coming down the pipe a few years from now for these earlier models, and seeing how they thought, how they broke it down in a certain way that they maybe missed it. We'll have higher fidelity in the future, but there was an expressionism, about it, like
the composition. You are talking about the composition, right?
Composition, how it's thinking, how it's breaking down the pixels. It's not high fidelity, but it has an impressionistic, painterly quality in these imaginal worlds.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they said when they start. That's what they said. They actually had a lot of artists putting the input, and the first versions, they were pretty much oil painting kind of style, high brushes, and they tried to narrow that down. Version 1, version 2, and in version 3, they start to figure out, well, we need a little bit more than that. At that time, you cannot have vehicles. It was more like abstractish kind of. They could not have the details. And after that, they focus on version 3 and version 4, and they start having the issue with the 6 fingers. They identifying the metadata. And after that become very, very high detail, as you said, especially in version 5. And I noticed that in version 5, and Eric, I see you raised the hand. Eric, we'll give you in a second your thoughts to hear. In version 5, I realize it's way too complex. Eric, you like to have your feedback?
No, I just wanted to ask the group, do you ever find yourself going back to previous versions because of what we're talking about? Because sometimes you don't want it so photorealistic or so sharp. And sometimes, these painterly styles that no matter how you try to reprompt in like version 6 or whatever, you're not going to get this kind of look. So I was just asking the room, does anyone ever go back to previous versions to create a particular look thereafter?
Yes, but in my case, for instance, in version 5 you can use references and you can have the code. In version 6 you can. So I used that for a while. But in version 4, I remember when version 5 popped up, it was way too complex, way too busy for me, and I prefer the version 4 because version 4 was more, how should I say, brutalistic, more painting, modern painting, big brushes, and I use that a lot. Ton of images. I prefer it with 4, even if version 5 was available.
This is a couple of images of global warming, warning of cities like Hong Kong and
Shanghai,
New York, getting flooded. I was one of the first people that used golden hour in prompts, and got some of these images. And that actually is Dali, but I just put it in.
Elvis Hulk.
Yeah. This is back to back to Midjourney, and a couple of well-known women as Wonder Woman, including what's her name?
Betty.
Yeah, Betty White. And then just tattooed women, children, statues.
Actually, those reminds me about Margarita. Margarita, when you made your first half human, half animals, you did
Yeah,
that in version 5. And
the
that's somebody else come with something similar, but I don't want to open that one.
no, what because I wanted to say about what Eric was asking before, because many of the things that I created in the previous versions are the best that I got, even when I tried to do the same prompt with the new models, because even the language, the way you prompt is different from model to model. And I sometimes go back to, yeah, and my bunnies, Brigitte. The ones that I really like were done like in version 4, 6, 5. And when I try to reprompt them on 6, it's not the same. And I feel so nostalgic looking at all these images, because this was such a meaningful time, like 2 years ago. We all started this, so it's like
Right.
it's amazing to see this, and that kind of aesthetic we were looking from the previous images that Bigal was showing. It's like magic. It makes me go back in time and feel like the butterflies in my stomach again. Pretty cool.
This was Art Deco posters for train.
And you got a text on it. Ooh, super cool.
And this, some of the trains that I got, this was like supposed to be New York New York, train station, Grand Central Station, but I prompted it to be like a scene from a 1930s movie, and I feel like they gave me a movie set background for this thing. Some of the people I had to get them off of the track, or partially buried in the thing, but I didn't do a whole lot
Can you go back to that one a second?
yeah.
What I love about that is how the foreground of the train is like semi-photorealistic, where the background, looks more like an illustration, but they work together.
Yeah, and again, black and white because it was a 1930s movie, you know. Um, just experimenting. And I put this in. I have always been amazed at what some strikes certain people's fancy, and this one got a whole lot of attention. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? And a quick little thing, and all these multiple views and comments. Ziegfeld Follies. Ginger Rogers and Fred Astaire. This is what do you call the dancing that they used to do to earn money during the Depression? Where they would dance all through until they fell, kind of a thing. And I was doing that in contrast with the movies that were going on, and the bread lines, stuff like that. This is still version 3. The interesting, wood carvings, and telling stories about my dad. Remembering the first cars coming to town. Um, and again, I mean, I really, think some of these images were, just, beautiful stuff, even though they were, that still version 3. And this is, you saw earlier version of the first Thanksgiving. This was another one version done with version 3 versus the first one was version 2. As Rambo. Another thing that got a lot of reaction was city lights on foggy nights. Now we're into version 4. And I'll tell you my story about this picture is I was trying very hard in version 3 to try to get a Monkees string quartet. And the Monkees were just not behaving. And I was just at the point about 1:30 in the morning where I was just going to give up and go to bed. And they came out with version 4 at that moment. And so I immediately started, doing stuff. This particular picture has 11 different renders in it, all assembled. Like that is the monkey with fixes. Let me just say, um, not only is it version 4, but I didn't like how the instruments turned out. And so I took and rendered 3D violins and bows, and the bass and the cello were ones that were fairly good, but then I went in and corrected the tops of the instruments and changed the bows and stuff. But like I said, 11 different AI images plus 3D instruments. And just a few more version 4 pictures. We loved version 4. Everybody was just so excited. And I had these chameleons with version 4, and they Lazur's archives selected these 4 images to be in their 200 Best Digital Artists annual a couple of years back. And bubble wrap clothing and some Christmas wardrobes. Bioluminescence. This is another one that got a whole lot of likes back when we were doing dioramas all the time.
Yeah.
And I think that's it.